Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Billy Jack, franchise owner here at Exit Realty Central in El Paso, Texas. Hey, so I wanted to share a little scenario with you that I've experienced over the years, and especially with all these lawsuits coming in now. I'm hearing a lot of comments from clients, customers, and other agents. With the clients and customers, they're saying, you're charging too much for what you really do. And that's becoming a lot more prevalent now because really that is what these lawsuits are about. So, as you know, I do home inspections as well, and I've been getting that for years now. I've been doing it for about 15 years now, and I can do a standard home inspection for a standard size house, 2,000 square foot or so, fairly quickly. Okay, I mean, I can be in and out of there about, if it's in good shape, about an hour, between an hour and 2 hours. Okay? And my minimum rate's about $400 for a fairly small house. And every now and then I'll get a comment saying, you're charging that much and you were just there for, a couple hours or an hour. Man, I could have just done it myself. And my response is always that, you know what? I mean, you're not paying for my time. I'm not charging you an hourly rate. You're paying for my knowledge and my expertise. And so I'm a facilitator for you, especially as a realtor. I'm a facilitator. There's a lot of back end work that goes to this. And I tell them, I have years of training. I have a lot of experience in this. My first several inspections, it would take me hours. I mean, half a day to be in there. And then I would tell them, if you hire a new one or you hire a new agent, when I get those comments on the real estate side, it's going to seem like they're doing a lot more work because they're calling everybody or they're taking a while to do stuff or, but in reality, it's more like they're scrambling. If you watch, I'll tell them, if you hire a new inspector per se, and you watch him, he's going to take 3-4 hours inside a small house. And for me, when I see them, I could tell that they're lost. I mean, they're just trying to remember what to do, and they're even getting out their phone and Googling certain things to see what the standards of practice are or things like that. And even in real estate, they have, the contracts can still be confusing. They're not very familiar with it because it's not repetition as much. So that's why it seems like it's a lot more and it takes longer. So I tell them, this, I have many years and thousands of inspections that I have under me already. I know exactly what to look for. On the real estate side, I know scenarios and how to handle them well. And when you have problems, I know how to resolve them, or I have the resources and I can quickly get it taken care of. And it's not going to take me, days or in inspections, hours to figure it out. You see? And that's what I tell them. I said, if you hire a very experienced plumber, so to say, to fix a pretty complicated pipe, he can fix it real quick, or a mechanic. But if you hire somebody that has no experience in that, they're there trying to diagnose it and figure it out while they're there. So that's why they take a lot longer. So I say, if you wanted me to be here for 6 hours, I got all that done because I already know what I'm looking for. I already know what I'm doing. I said, so for you to inspect the house yourself, every little thing that you might see, you're not going to know what the ratio of the flow of a pipe is supposed to be or what the diameter of an electrical wiring is supposed to be unless you literally Google every single thing, and you'll be there for a week. You see, and the same thing in a real estate transaction. Issues come up, whatever it is, negotiation tactics, all that stuff, that all comes with experience. And the licensing itself gives you that knowledge already, whether it's your first transaction or your 5,000 transaction mark years in. You see, so that's how I explain it. I say, you're not paying for my time, you're paying for my knowledge and my expertise. And on the real estate side, I heard an agent tell me, I always ask them whenever I see an agent again, and I tell them, hey, and it's either the same client or, it's a different one already. And I tell them, hey, how did it go with the last transaction? And this one agent tells me, oh, it fell apart. And I tell them, well, what happened? And they always open up and say it. And then they said, well, the seller didn't want to fix a water heater. The water heater was old or it was busted, whatever the case is. Something pretty minor, right? There was something wrong with this little item and they didn't want to fix it. So my buyer just said, let's just terminate. And I said, well, and then that's it? That's what you just terminated? Well, yeah, that's what they wanted to do. That's what the buyer wanted to do. Let's just terminate. And I said, that's kind of why, in my opinion now, that's kind of why we have that kind of reputation of, you guys don't do much. Because they're just like, you're just order takers. You see, instead of working the transaction, say, if you really want this house, let me work this. Let me see. There's a lot of things that could have been done. Maybe a little bit of seller concessions or something, or split the cost. You could have said, you know what, I'll even buy you the water heater. If it was, $500 or $800 or whatever it is, and you're going to make $4,000 on commission, I'll buy you a water heater. If you want this house, I'll do that for you just to make this deal work. Or I would have asked the listing agent, hey, let's split it, 50-50 or something. There's always things, not just, well, you don't want it no more? Oh, okay. Well, what, you're working for free? That's why so many get jaded and so many decide, this is just not for me. But you're not really trying, and I know that can come with time or whatever, but it's kind of a little bit of common sense, and the thing is, you tell them, I take the emotion out of it. You can sell your house yourself or you can try to buy your house yourself. I said, but you're not going to know all these kind of strategies, all this stuff that I get trained for, that we have our office trainings for this and we have our continuing education and all that, like an attorney's not going to get emotional about your case. Their job is to get you the best possible outcome, whether it's civil or criminal. Even though attorneys would tell me when I would ask them, how do you defend a client that is straight up guilty? The evidence is really clear. He's guilty or he's a murderer or whatever, but yet you still defend him. What are you defending him for? Like, what is your point of defending him, right? And he says, because everybody's entitled to a fair trial. I want to make sure he gets just punishment, not unfair, not just take him out to the front of the courthouse and hang him or something like that. Okay. It's need to make sure that it's fair. So they earn it, so it's the same. It's the same in real estate too. It's just, I'm facilitating this transaction. I'm working different avenues. If you want it, some people get emotional. Well, it's like, oh, he doesn't want to clean the carpets. Oh, what, he thinks I'm a stupid buyer? Well, I'm not going to buy his house anymore. Or sellers do the same thing. Oh, that buyer is very stupid. He's asking me ridiculous things. Just tell him no and let's find another buyer. You go, well, no, you don't see, that's what would happen if it didn't have agents involved. The seller buyer would be like, oh, I hate you. You're stupid. No, you're stupid. Oh, go buy somebody else's house. You see, and that's what realtors do. That's why there's agency. You see, so you facilitate it. Go, no, hold on now. Okay, he might be a little bit ridiculous on that, but there's it in courts. It's the same way. What do you mean you want to give my client this, or what do you mean you're trying to sue me for $50 million? And then you settle for $5 million. You see, because there's fairness. You see, there's effort in it, and that's what you need to explain to the people. When the people say that, well, you charge too much, or you're not worth what you pay. I said, well, you know what? My response is, well, I don't know what kind of agents, what experience you've had in the past, but this is how I handle my business, and this is how I handle my clients. This is the seriousness that I take mine, and this is what I do. And then all the points that I discussed in this video. Okay, so I hope this helped you. I'm going to try to make it nice and short, right under the 10-minute mark or a few seconds over. But alrighty, so hopefully it helps you, and we'll see you on the next one.